Hey friends, Miranda Vivanco here, and in today's episode on Cooking with Essential Oils, we're going to make Thanksgiving herb stuffing. I'm going to be using thyme, marjoram, and black pepper oils. All of these are featuring from doTerra oils. A perfect dish for your Thanksgiving meal. Before we get started, if you like this type of content, give this video a thumbs up, and if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell notifications. That way you get notified every time we put out a new video. Also, remember to download your recipe book at cookwithoils.com. I'll put a link in the description. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so I've chopped my celery and I've chopped my onion. They say to use about a half a cup of each. I like to use a little bit more just because I like the flavor that it gives it. So I use about a cup of each. What I'm going to do is I'm going to melt a cup of butter in the pan. I'm going to put these vegetables in there and I'm going to saute them until they're translucent. It takes about 5 minutes, and then we'll come back here and we'll add everything else in so you can kind of see it all get incorporated together and how I use these 3 oils in the recipe versus using other dry herbs. I'm going to be using both, but just to show you how the oils work with it. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to melt a cup of butter in the pan, and I'm going to be putting my celery and my onion in that pan, and I'm going to saute them until they're translucent. Now, the recipe I have has a cup of each because I like the extra vegetables. You don't have to put a cup. You can put a half a cup if you like, but I like the crunchiness and the taste, the flavor that the celery and the onion give the stuffing. After I saute those vegetables, we're going to come back here and we're going to add in all the other ingredients, including the marjoram, thyme, and black pepper essential oils that I'm going to be using in this recipe, along with some herbs and some chicken stock. Okay, we've sauteed the vegetables and they're ready to mix. I'm going to mix it right in the pan because that's easiest. It uses the least amount of dishes, and especially on Thanksgiving Day when you're using almost all of the dishes and the utensils in your kitchen. It makes it real easy to make it in one pot. I use Mrs. Cubison's stuffing because I like that it's in small pieces and that it's ready to go. If you want to chop up your own bread and do all of that, feel free, go ahead. I'm just going to be using this. I like to use it all the time. It's one of my shortcuts. I don't take many of them, but I like this one. So what I'm going to do is take the breading and put it all as evenly as I possibly can on top of the butter. And I'm going to mix that together first. When you're mixing this first, what's going on is that it is absorbing, all of the bread is absorbing the butter. You would say and think that this would be a good time to add the oils, but the butter's hot. And as the butter is hot, it kind of starts taking away the beneficial properties of the oils. And it's not that the oils aren't going to have the flavor or that they're not going to benefit you, but just like cooking anything, it kind of slowly diminishes over a little bit of time. Next, I'm going to be adding my chicken stock, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the oils to the chicken stock so that I can put it all over the entire pan. And then in this, I'm also going to be putting my other herbs, which is a tablespoon of parsley and a tablespoon of sage. And then I'm going to be adding the drops, my marjoram oil from doTerra. And you know, I was reading about marjoram oil, and I'm going to be using 2 drops of marjoram, and then I'm going to be using 2 drops of thyme. And marjoram was used in the old times to stop poisoning, which I thought was really interesting. But it also, they talked about the properties of marjoram being able to, if you put it on at night, I'm going to be putting on 3 drops of black pepper oil. That if you put marjoram oil on at night, you would dream of your future relationship, the person that was going to come and be in a relationship with you. I thought that was kind of interesting, historical stuff about these oils. We use them now in a very different way. Back then, they didn't have the distillation processes that like doTerra uses to get the most benefits out of that oil. So it was a little bit different, but you know, always interesting to see what they did back then and what we're doing now and all the benefits that we get. So now, very carefully, I'm going to be pouring this over the breading. and mixing it all together as evenly as possible, all the way around. And then I'm going to toss it, just so all of it will get that delicious flavor from the chicken stock. You can use water if you like, or apple cider vinegar. Some people like to use that if you want to add extra vegetables. The nice thing about stuffing is you can add just about anything you want. I like it plain and simple, and I love it with my herbs and the marjoram and thyme essential oils that I use, because it just brings out the other flavors of the turkey and the other dishes. It just really makes it a complete, savory, wonderful meal. All right, and now I'm going to transfer it into my pan. All right, everything's stirred up really nicely. All of the butter and chicken stock, the essential oils I used, and the herbs are all into the bread, all soaked up, super nice. We put it in the pan, flatten it out a little bit so that it gets, I like a crispy top, so I'm going to be putting it in the oven. I've preheated the oven at 350, and it's going to go in the oven for about 30 minutes, and then it'll be ready. All right, friends, it's been 30 minutes. The stuffing is done. It looks great. Let's see how it tastes. It's fantastic. The marjoram and the thyme really shine in this, and the combination is fantastic. Remember, I used doTerra oils. I had black pepper, marjoram, and thyme, and they are really shining and are going to complement everything else on that Thanksgiving Day turkey dinner. Well, that wraps up another Cooking with Essential Oils episode. Remember, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe and click the bell notification so you never miss my weekly episodes, where I show you how to use essential oils in your everyday cooking. Also, follow me on Facebook. If you want this recipe or others like it, I'll leave the link in the description, or you can always go to www.cookwithoils.com and download your own Cooking with Essential Oils recipe book. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and I'll answer all of them. And the best way to support my channel is to share it with a friend. Thanks again for watching. Long live essential oils.